Sanskrit is a complex linguistic system. This was in medium.com. You may be able to pull it. Maybe send it to everyone as a reference, because so his article is beautiful, but it doesn't give examples. So today we'll start with one example. So then one can appreciate. This was an insight actually came with Sri Aurobindo, at least in our times, and then Sampadananji has written a beautiful essay on it. So maybe something to share with everyone. Yeah, that's it. A beautiful essay. Hierarchical structure, interconnected elements, feedback loops, adaptability, multiplicity of perspectives. These are the different aspects of Sanskrit. So we'll see that with an example. And in the Gita, how it happens. So we are ready whenever everyone is. Swamiji is here yet or no?
Yeah, we can start, Dr. P. I'm here.
Okay. Pranam, Swamiji.
Pranam.
All right, you can start recording, sir.
It's already, it's recording.
Okay. All right, so today we're going to do 2.38, which is a shloka in transition. And you might have, you guys have noticed how Sri Krishna uses different lines of reasoning. And we have talked about it several times. Very briefly, 2.11 to 2.25, he brings in Sankhya. He says, Purusha can never be destroyed. So there's no need to feel sorry. Purusha can never destroy and can never be destroyed. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Famous, very famous lines. And we have discussed that. And then from 2.26 to 2.30, he kind of gives him a concession. He says, even if you are right, even if the Purusha dies, there's no reason for you to be sorrowful. And he takes this logic to 2.31, where he says, now let's talk about your Swadharma. Think about your Swadharma, who you are. And if you do not follow your Swadharma as a Kshatriya, what will happen? It will be Papa, you will not reach Swarga. And then he starts in 2.34 with Akirti. And that's the shloka we will start, where we started memorizing. So Rahulji, you be ready to chant all 5 of the shlokas, starting from 2.34. But 2.34, he brings in Akirti. Akirti, not generally, but among his own peers and people whom he respects, the Maharathis, the Maharatha. And finally, in 2.37, he says very clearly that if you die, you will get Swarga. If you win, you will enjoy the earth. Now, we noticed that this logic was very earth consequence bound, at least the last 7, 8 shlokas. If you don't do, you don't go to Swarga. If you don't do it, it is Papa and Akirti. And it is very external logic that we usually would not associate with Sri Krishna. Now Sri Krishna pivots, and this is his pivot. This shloka, he comes back to his own order, where Sri Krishna is no longer talking about external things, but talking about the spiritual side. So 2.38, and we will do a little bit of Sanskrit, because the goal is to make you all comfortable with Sanskrit, understand Sanskrit, enjoy Sanskrit. So we will come to start breaking it down. So we have done Akaranta. If you remember, the vibhaktis for akaranta in ekavachana. If you remember that, janaha, janam, janin, janai, janat, janasya, jane, jana. So कर्ता ने कर्म को करण से के द्वारा संप्रदान को के लिए अपादान से संबंध का के की रारेरी अधिकरण में पर and sambodhana. These are the 8 things. Janah, janam, janin, janai, janat, janasya, jane, jan. I know a little memorization is important. Swamiji has got 2 point, please bring it to 2.38. That's the next shloka. So now I'm going to do a little swap here, and we will do the prathama vibhakti of jana, because it is being used here. So I'm going to take a little pivot. I'm sorry, but janah, janau, janaha. And if you want to show vibhaktis for akaranta, you can show it to us. Janah, janau, janaha. Now, second vibhakti, dvitiya vibhakti will be janam. We have already done that. Janam. Dvivachan will be janau. And the bahuvachan will be janan. You can do Rama. Rama is fine. Okay. Yes. Okay. So we did the ekvachan from top to down. Janaha is Sambodhan. Forget Sambodhan in this as the second one, because Sambodhan, some people, traditional Indian grammarians do not consider Sambodhan as a vibhakti. It is a variation of prathama vibhakti. So he has put it as number 2, but if you ignore it for a moment with me, because that's how I was taught. Janaha, janama, janain, janai, janat, janasya, jane, jana. Sambodhan comes at the end, the ashtami vibhakti. If there is difference of opinion, we don't need to argue with the grammarians. They know more than I do. But let's do the prathama vibhakti. Janaha, janau, janaha. Janaha is 1 person. Janau is 2. Janaha is many. And jana as a nominative. Nominative is karta, one who is doing things, from whom things happen. Karta. Dvitiya is janam, janau, janan. Dvitiya vibhakti is karam, that which I am doing, or if I'm talking to someone. So if I'm communicating, if I'm giving something, so aham samiram dadami. I give to Samira. To Samira, Samiram. So
Is it like
that
an
is the
object of my action, like a direction of my action, which is denoted
yes,
by
object. Direction, you start coming to Saptami, but again, remember, these are very fluctuant, so you can change.
Yeah.
It is usually action that is closest to me. Thing that is closest to me. That's how I think, and I had sent it to everyone on our WhatsApp, if you remember, from Panini, and how did he describe it? And if I can locate it for you, I don't know if you saw that. What is the karam and what is karta? Anyway, we will come to that. So let's go back to the. Did you find it?
No, I don't know if you sent it actually.
I didn't send it.
Panini. Is this the
Okay,
rule number 1, rule number 2, Swatantra?
Yeah, that is it. Kartri swatantraha. This is so Panini gives his rules are you just die after you read them, because it's so concise. So kartri or kartaru, depends on how you pronounce the ru. Swatantraha. So prathama vibhakti is karta. Karta is free. That is the definition. Panini's definition of karta is one who is completely free. We understand is the one who is doing things, free to do things. So, swatantraha kartari. Karta is completely independent. Karta swatantra hai. This is the rule for Panini. Karturi psi tamam. Karturi. Ipsa, you know, ipsa is if you like something. Like lipsa, you might have heard. Ipsit tamam, maximum love. That for which you have maximum love, the karta has maximum love, is karma. This is again Panini's formula. He had 4,000 formulae to die for. Literally, no pun intended. You read them and you just want to pass out.
No
what
pun.
a brilliant guy.
But his name
And
itself
if
has
someday
fun.
we do that, you will be truly dangerous. But that for which the karta has maximum love is karma. So let's go back because we can only do so much Panini. Someday we will do more, but even I pass out when I try to do them. After 2, I'm ready to be tied.
But Dr. B, just to clarify, so what we're saying, let's say if I'm drinking coffee right now.
Yes.
So this is the
I am
maximum love, right? This is what I want to do right now. This is my maximum love. Is that the indicator?
Yeah.
So
Aham jalam pibami.
Hmm.
Aham jalam pibami. Don't ask me the Sanskrit for coffee because I have no idea what it is.
I think coffee is
someone
coffee.
Can research.
Coffee only. Coffee.
Coffee, I don't
Coffee.
know. I don't know.
Jalam is okay.
Aham
But
jalam pibami.
you do
Right?
what you are most in love with basically at that time. If you're free, right? You're free to drink coffee, listen to the session, walk away. Is that how to?
Yeah. Panini is Panini, boss. I mean, if that's how you take it, you have absolute. Now, remember where he is coming from. Our grammarians don't start with the normal level.
Yeah.
They start with the highest level. So the Purusha, who is the freest, is the Karta. That is the Purusha. That Purusha has love for what? Adhikarana. Adhikarana is the Kshetra, and we will come in chapter 13, is the field in which the Purusha, the Kshetragya, does his things, or Kshetragya lives. Adhikarana is that where you are, the space, the time, may, pe, par, what you're around, what is around you, in your heart. So our Sanskrit geniuses don't come up with a small level. They start with the highest spiritual level. So like apadana. Apadana is the divine from whom everything comes. That is the true apadana. We are mosquitoes compared to that apadana. I mean, I'm just joking because eventually we are the apadana. Okay, let's go back to the Dvitiya Vibhakti because it's going to come here. I'll start with the shloka and then you will see where it is coming. Sukh dukhe same kritva labha labhau jaya jayau tato yuddhaya yujyasva nevam papama vapsyasi. And we're just reading it. Since now you know the part, you can hear the sound. Sukh dukhe, and this you will come in Sanskrit a lot where two words are joined. It is what is it called? Samasa. When two words are joined, it is called samasa. They drive me crazy, but this is a simple one. Sukh dukh. When two equals are joined, it's called the dvandva samasa. They're equal. Sukh dukh. Labha alabha. Jaya ajaya. So this is a samasa. Two words are joined. Sanskrit, they don't like hiatus. They don't like separate words. They just, in fact, if you read the original text, everything is one, continuous, connected. There's no separation between words. Nowadays, we grant it for the weaker guys like us. Okay, we'll separate the words. So, sukh dukhe same kritva. Labha labhau jaya jayo. Now, let's also look at sandhi because I think people should know the sandhi. Naivam, you will see naivam. Na evam. There it is. Padacheda. Na evam. So a plus a, when it meets, it becomes ai. Nae. Naevam. And you will see that, right? And another sandhi is papama avapyasi. So ma is half, it has a halant underneath, and a ma plus adha ma, half ma plus a becomes a complete ma. So it becomes papama vapsyasi. Now, what is the difference between sandhi and samasa? Samasa is the union of two words. Sandhi is the unity of two varnas or two aksharas, na and a, ma and a.
The first time in
Samasa
my life
is you have brought two words together. Now you will say,
it's the first time in my life I understood this. I heard this in school days, Sandhi and Samas.
oh my God, did you even pass your exam, Samir?
Yeah, I had like 55 numbers in Hindi.
Oh my God. 55 out of 200?
No, out of 100.
Okay.
But that's
I
I'm
stood.
not to comment on me or on the system of education, but
Yeah, it is. So if we have fun with these things, it will become easy. So dvandva samasa, there were a lot of samasas, tatpurusha, karma dharaya, and hopefully slowly as we do them, it will become, it is by doing that you will learn, not by learning and then trying to, just theory. It's very difficult. Adults don't learn that way. So what is Sri Krishna saying? Sukha dukha together, labha, labh and alabha. So in happiness and sorrow, labh, gain and loss, and jaya ajaya, in victory and defeat. Same kritva, having done. Kritva is having done. Remember, this is the tva pratyaya. Tva is to do. Okay. Aham gatva patham pathami. I will go. Aham vidyalayam gatva patham pathami. Having gone to the vidyalaya, I will study. See how you got already two vibhaktis. So vidyalayam gatva. Now also remember, second vibhakti can be twice. I go to the vidyalaya and I read the patha. Aham vidyalayam gatva, having gone to the vidyalaya, patham pathami. And so Sanskrit does that. Aham vidyalayam gatva, patham pathitva, bhojanam karomi. Right? And the fun part of this tva is you don't have any vibhaktis for it. You don't have any, all the variations that we did, patami, patasi, patati, or nothing. Kritva, patitva. So having obtained sukh and dukha, labh and alabh, jaya and ajaya, in an equal mind, same, in equanimity. Tato is then, therefore, tata. Yuddhaya. Remember Om Namah Shivaya? Yuddhaya. For Yuddha, Yujyasva. Yujyasva is to join. Yuj. Root is Yuj. And we will talk about this Yuj because Sri Krishna loves Yuj. And he loves to play with Yuj. This is the first time the root Yuj has come in the Gita. Now he will play with it. So he's a master of poetry also, by the way. So in case I haven't said this 100 times already. Na evam. Whenever you say eva, you emphasize. Na evam, for you will not. Papama, papama, sin. Avapsyasi, you will not gain, you will not obtain papa. So remember now, he started with Purusha, then he gave complete allowance if Purusha dies. Then he talks about Swarga, he talks about Papa, then he talks about Akirti, but now he has moved. Now we are back to Samantha. Now he has given up the consequences. External, physical, worldly consequences have no meaning now. Now Sri Krishna has started pivoting to a different order. And Sri Krishna does that. He'll talk in one order, he'll jump to another, and he'll come back to the order. Now, logically, you can argue with him, sir, you can't really do this. But he's Sri Krishna. He'll keep changing depending on what the disciple needs.
Is it like now moving from intellectual to sort of more actual?
I would say it is moving from the mundane or the external to the spiritual, or to the psychological.
Okay.
Right? So a kirti, who cares about kirti and a kirti when you're a yogi? But Sri Krishna is not writing a yogic test. Sri Krishna is wanting to be, is a very practical person. So he just wants to convince Arjuna. He doesn't care about theory. He has to get it done. He's a very practical person. So he'll use all lines of reasoning, and each line of reasoning will be developed later. He takes it at a physical, external level, but he has 18 chapters to keep building it. And the first example now that Yuj, we will come back to that. So don't forget, we will come to that. That's a very important note. Sri Krishna is like a master musician. He'll introduce a note and then he'll keep playing with it. So if you want to do the patha, we can do it so that, we can enjoy it a little bit and see how beautiful it sounds. Do the one on Swami Brahmananda. This is very disappointing. I get very depressed when I listen to others. You're on mute, sir.
Yeah, I will share. I have to just reshare because
it is the super.
Yeah, I have that.
Okay.
See if you can hear it. Was it audible?
Yes.
Tato yuddhaya yujyatva naivam papamavapyati.
So now remember my vibhaktis. Sukha dukkhe same kritva labha labhau jaya jayau. Where is that aw sound? Labhau and jayau. Right? So janau dvitiya vibhakti. Jaya ajaya, when he's talking about gaining, having done those. Jaya jayau labha labhau. Right? So this is your second vibhakti. And the only reason we do this is so you get oriented to it. So it's not just, we just take a word for, at random. Sanskrit is a very structured, beautiful language. Once you know the patterns in Sanskrit, it becomes very simple. And remember, akaranta is the most common in Sanskrit. Akaranta words are most common. Now I'm going to take you just another one. If suppose I had phalam. Phalam is, so jana is pulling, is masculine, right? Jana is pulling. There it is, written in brackets at the top. Now suppose I say phalam. Phalam is neutral. Napunsaka. Phalam. Phal. Phalam is napunsaka. And when you do the vibhakti of phalam, it is almost like jana, except a few changes. And those also we should see. It is the prathama and dvitiya that are the most tricky. But let's do from top to bottom, ekvachan. Ignore the sambodhana for a moment. Phalam is phalam. Whenever there is a ma at the end, it is napunsaka linga. If it's rama, most of them are akaranta. Those are most pullinga. Those are masculine. Just not always, but almost always. So phalam is napunsaka linga. You can see at the top. Now, how are the vibhaktis? If you remember the jana, phalam, it is not phalaha. It is phalam because it's napunsaka. But after that, phalam, phalain, phalai, phalat, phalasya, phale. Almost copying the jana. Very easy to remember. So phalam, phalam, phalain, phalai, phalat, phalasya, phale. And at the end, phala. Now, if you can look at the prathama and dvitiya on this, notice slight different on the there is a difference. Phalam phale phalani. And just remember it. Phalam phale phalani, phalam phale phalani. The prathama and dvitiya vibhaktis, phalam phale phalani, phalam phale phalani. Repeat this 100 times, it will stick in your head. It will be you'll get sick and tired of hearing this. So now look at the phale in dvitiya phale. So if I'm eating 2 fruit, then I will use phale. Aham phale khadami. What does that mean? I'm not eating 1 fruit. Then if I were eating 1 fruit, I would say aham phalam khadami. Or if I ate a lot of fruit, I would say aham phalani khadami. But I'm eating 2 fruit. So aham phale khadami. Now let's go back to our sukha dukhe. Sukha dukhe. Now, why is dukhe and not dukhau? Because dukha is napunsak linga. So sukh and dukha are napunsak linga. So sukha doesn't get changed. The second one, dukhe. So having gained sukh and dukha, but you will use, because it's a neutral word, you will use the phalam phale phalani. So sukham, dukham, dukhe, dukhani. You with me? But labha is akaranta pulling. Whenever we say akaranta, means it's ending in a. There will be ikaranta, there will be akaranta, like nadi. Nadi will be ikaranta because it's ending in e. If I say mala, it ends in a, it will be akaranta. And those are feminine. So I just want to stay with akaranta. So sorry, I'm getting all deviated, but this is not my fault. I just want you to be comfortable with the Sanskrit. You blame Swamiji for all this distraction. So now I think hopefully we are good with at least how we use the dvitiya vibhakti. So you will not have the fear of the dvitiya vibhakti. Now when you come to the shloka, you have not only understood what it means, but now you can start going into its vyakarana. And vyakarana is what? V is when you spread out. Karana is instrument. When you start spreading it out, when you start breaking it down, then it's vyakarana. So the padacheda is you're breaking it down. When you do the anvaya, you're breaking it down. So I know I'm getting all distracted, but anvaya we do padacheda. When we separate all the words, padacheda. Then anvaya, we put it in, because in Sanskrit, we don't care for order. But if we change the order in anvaya, so jaya ajaya, labh alabh, sukh dukha, after having seen them equally, then you fight. So anvaya makes it easy. And definitely you will not get papa. So that is all I wanted to say. Now I would like to spend 2 minutes on the beautiful quality of Sanskrit, which Sampadananji has brought beautifully. Let's stay with this. Just stay with the shloka for a moment. Yuddha and Yujya. If you go to Yuddha, the root of Yuddha, and I sent to torture you guys, I sent it, I think last weekend, several roots, and we want to do them. The root of Yuddha is Yudh, which is called the Dhatu. When we go, it is all abstract. There is no such word as you and dha adha half dha with a halant. Yudh. From that, the words like yuddha will come. You will add things to it. What do you add to it? We call it adding a guna to it. And then we add vriddhi to it. So yudh becomes yuddha. Just like yuj, yu and half ja, adha ja with a halant, ja with a halant underneath, yuj. Now, yuj is a favorite word of Sri Krishna. So if it's Sri Krishna's favorite, it's going to be our favorite. And he will come to this again and again. How does yuj come again and again? You all of you mostly, are familiar with the words yoga. Yoga comes from the word yuj. Yuj means to join, to yoke. In English, the word yoke comes from the root yuj. So just something to remember. Original sense was tying the horses to the chariot. Yoke. You yoke the horses to the chariot, and we still use that word in that sense. So yuj is to join. And what are you doing in yoga? You're joining yourself, all your different parts, you're joining them, or you're joining yourself with the divine. You can take it in many ways. Yuj is to join. Now see how Sri Krishna has played yudh and yuj, and he has put them next to each other. Perhaps you can say they're exactly the opposite. Yudh is to fight. Yuj is to join. Now I'm going to complicate this further, so please bear with me. Yudh is to fight. Yuj is to join. For the sake of battle, you join. So definitely in Sri Krishna's consciousness, yuddha is not a bad thing. For a Kshatriya, yuddha is not a bad thing. To join yourself, to become one, yujyasva, and then fight. Now this yuj is going to come back again and again, because yoga is going to come back several times through the Gita. Another word will come, and we will come to that word. Yajna, or in Hindi we say yagya. Yagya comes from the root yaj, ya and ja, half ja. Yaj means to offer, to give. Sri Krishna with his genius brings yoga and yagya together in several times later. Because yagya is also a part of yoga. In fact, one of the meanings of yagya is yoga, but the roots are different. Yaj, so are you with me so far? I hope I've not confused everyone. Yudh, yuj, and yaj. Now one more little complication and then I'll give you a break. Yu. Yu also means to connect, to join. Mahayuti, those who are following the elections right now in Maharashtra, what do they call it? Mahayuti. Yuti is to bring them together. So Marathi being close to Sanskrit, yuti. Yu is to join, to unite. But yu also means to separate. That is the brilliance of Sanskrit. Yu, the second root of yu, can also mean to separate. And I will just hold that thought right now. Now, Sri Krishna will play with these. So I'm going to give you several words and you're going to identify the roots. Okay? Yama. Yama is to control. People think that yaja and yama are related. Yama is to stretch. Yama, yata, yacha, they're to stretch out. So yama is to control. Yat, like yatna, like yat is to stretch, to push yourself. And from that comes the word yaj. It's like tyaja, give up, tyaga. So yaj, and from yaj comes yajna or yagya. Yuddha, of course, you know, to fight, we already have talked about. Yuyutsu, in the first shloka of the first chapter, Samaveta yuyutsavaha. Yudha is the word that gives birth to yuyutsava. And yu makes it yukta. So Sri Krishna will talk about yukta asit matparaha. Yukta, become one with me. Yukta asit matparaha, and that will come later. And yuja, which gives to yoga. Now I know I've given you a lot of these roots, but these are words that Sri Krishna will play with. Now, what happens when you use that word later? What does it remind you of? It reminds you of a previous use of that word. I've given you, this is all happening subconsciously. You don't know when you're reading. Now, we are going to become conscious. So the first time he has used the root yuj. Now, every time yoga comes, you will keep connecting. And he has connected yuj to yudh. So every time you talk about yudh, for him, yudh is a yoga. And then he'll connect yagya to yoga. And then he will connect yukta to yoga. All these have different roots. And the words will be different. But he has connected them at the root level. See the genius. Actually, he has connected those words and in the meaning. And so whenever these words come, it will play in your head subconsciously. As you master the Gita, you will see like a master musician introduces a note and then he plays with it. You've seen the raga, he'll take a note and he'll just keep going way out. And then he'll come back and he'll connect it to the rest of the earlier notes. That's what Sri Krishna does. And so yoga will come. Another word that will come is yuga. Sambhavami yuge yuge, if you have heard this. Whenever there is a dharma, I come back in that age. Sambhavami yuge yuge. Yuga is also coming from this root of yuj. So now let's talk about Sampadanandji when he talks about the feedback loops. When the roots come back, the root sounds, the dhatus come back, there are feedback loops happening in your brain. It is connected somewhere, not just at the verbal level, not just at the level of the sound, but at the level of the roots. This is something that if we start appreciating about the Gita, you will realize how beautifully there are various levels. Sri Krishna works at various levels of poetry. And that's all. I don't want to confuse it anymore. So I think I will leave it for you to question if you have any. I think now you're all experts in it. More and more you will start appreciating Sanskrit. At least that's how I appreciated Sanskrit. Just I enjoy how he has played with words.
So I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So when he's saying ki if you join yourself and then you fight, then no papa will come to you. So why is that basically? I mean, what's the difference between? Because that was his concern in the beginning, right? I don't want to have papa. So
yes, he is basically.
How does this change? Because he's still going to fight and kill. So
Yes.
why does papa not happen?
So Sri Krishna's entire approach now is no longer about the results, but how to do your action.
Okay.
Results he has already discussed, right? Akirti, Papa, Swadharma, Swarga, he has already, Anarya, he has discussed all that. Now he has moved to a new level of approach, is how you will do things. And what has he brought in? The concept of equanimity, samantha. Now you're going to act through samantha. So basically what Sri Krishna is saying is you can fight the war or you can run away from the war. Eventually both are disconnected actions, right? In the world, you can do business, Swamiji, create super Morpheus, or you can leave it all. But only if you join yourself to Sri Krishna and then do supermorpheus, then it is Sri Krishna's action. Or only if you join Sri Krishna and take time off, then it is Sri Krishna's time off. That is one of the first indications of where Sri Krishna is taking you. This is a very important shloka. He has switched the paradigm on you.
But is this like a step 2? The step 1 is the sukh dukhe labho labho. Well, to get out of that first and then to come, then this
Samatha, and then you unite with him. This is basically he will come back to this. So Sri Krishna loves to do this. He'll put an idea in your head and then he'll come back later. And then he'll come back later. Because it's registering. We don't learn like in a linear way. We need a lot of repetition. And it sits in the head. It doesn't register. Then again, he comes back in a new way. Then it starts registering. Then another level of awareness is reached. Then another level of awareness is reached. That's how we do. It's several stages. But he has given you the secret of action. If you really understand it, Yuddhaya Yujyasva. If you do everything united with Sri Krishna, you can even battle. And you're fine. You will not get power.
If I'm sitting, let's say normally I'm attached to, am I winning? Am I losing? Am I gaining? So I'm like almost like holding on to that. And if I let go of that, it's like automatically, it's like a balloon you probably lift up. And that's the union might happen. And then I can act again from that.
Right. So 2 movements, Sri Krishna always emphasizes on samatha. And if you remember which shlok was that where he talks about titiksha, I think it was 2.15, right? Tam titikshasva bharata. Titiksha is to be not reacting, right? When you don't react, then you are in titiksha. Let me see if I can find that. Tam titikshasva bharata. Here it is. Shloka 2.14. Agama payano nityaha tam titikshasva bharata. So here, Sri Krishna 2.14. Sri Krishna has already told him titiksha. Titiksha is, suppose I tell you, Samirji, you look great today. No reaction. Samirji, you're messed up. Your whole dress is messed up. No reaction. Titiksha is holding oneself back. It's passive, no response, no reaction. Samatha is a little higher. Samatha is more active. Stoicism, yes, Rahulji asked about Stoicism. Yes, Stoicism, I've always, in my lighter moments, I call Gita a text which uses Stoicism. So Stoicism, there's no reaction. But Gita Stoicism is a spiritual Stoicism. The Greek Stoicism is a training of your mind, of your psychology, your feelings, constant training. Here, this is a spiritual Stoicism. So, Titiksha, Udasinata, and Samatha. These are the 3 steps that Sri Aurobindo talks about in his records of yoga. So, Titiksha, no reaction. Udasinta, you elevate yourself. You rise above what is happening in the world. And then Samatha. Samatha is not only in your passive state, withdrawn state, but in activity, you are in equanimity. Sthairya, dhairya, or Samatha. That's the other lesson we are talking. When you are in
approach, what should be the approach in life then to basically, because conceptually I might understand as I'm talking to you, but as I walk out, something happens and once again I'm back into the like, dislike and all that stuff.
Yes, it's not easy. So you have to train abhyasa, sadhana. That's why it's called sadhana. You have to do abhyasa and you have to practice so that your consciousness is always one with Sri Krishna, so that nothing, even if the whole world comes to an end, you're still one with Sri Krishna. Nothing happens. That is the consciousness, total unity with the divine. If you can manage it, that's the yoga that Sri Krishna is talking about.
How?
But first thing is not to react. That is the Samatha is absolutely the basis of the Gita.
But
for the
reaction is so
personal.
fast, Dr. P. How do I, like, it's so fast, reaction just happens, like, before I even know it.
You have to learn to slow it down. See, in Stoicism, what do they do? Let's talk about practical stuff. Stoicism, every evening they look back at what they have done.
Okay.
They remember what I remember. So this morning, what did I do? So I went to the office and patient was still smoking. And I got very upset. And I yelled at the patient. Of course, in a good way, but I got upset. And then another patient came in and said, I stopped smoking. And I'm so happy. I'm giving high fives. I'm so thrilled. Right? Now I go back and say, okay, I'm reacting. Now I go back in memory and I hold it. What should I have done? So this is what Stoicism, one of the exercises, I rewind the cassette. If there is a cassette anymore. Nowadays, we don't have cassettes. If I rewind the day and I did this, or in the evening, my associate came and said, this, I didn't do this. And immediately my response is, are you an idiot? And then suddenly I said, okay, I'm not going to say it. But internally, I was just ready to chew him out. Then I said, okay, relax. So now these moments, I identify what I did. Then I rewind it and I say, and I go in my consciousness, what should I do? It's a lot of practice. In Stoicism, there's a lot of practice. Remembrance, recall, reliving, and then correcting it in your brain. Now, in the morning when I get up, I'll concentrate on this. And those situations, I'm going to relive those situations, because guess what happens? Life is the same situations coming back. It is not a unique situation. Tomorrow, again, I'll have a patient. They'll do something else. They'll be drinking Coke, and I'll go crazy on them. Slightly different, but I'm going to be reacting. Or someone had a heart attack, and they didn't tell me, and I'm getting all upset. So situations don't really change. If you pay attention, they're quite similar to which we react. They have similar, should I say, variables. I know it's a paradox, but almost there are similarities in situations. So as you start practicing through those situations, when that happens, you're not going to react. All right, I've done it, done this. So that is the samantha. This is a lesson, a practice in Stoicism, which we can do.
But see, the thing is, this is where we are depending on the memory, right? Which may or may not be having. But like in Vedanta, we always do try to do the Sakshi Bhav, self-observation in the moment.
Yes. That's a higher way. That's a spiritual way. Right? But Stoicism is mental. There is no spirituality in Stoicism. He's not saying there's no God in Stoicism, right?
No, I understand that. I think for us, but I think for our group, we are probably...
For our group, you learn to be detached. You learn to be in that consciousness.
Watching.
But if you want to practice it, you can use the mental. If that helps you, you can use the mental techniques.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we have, squeezed the bejesus out of this shloka. If you want me to torture you more, I'm happy, always happy to.
If anybody has any questions, we can take that also.
Who wants to do a patha? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Patha is even more important.
Who wants to do that patha? I volunteered, Rahul, so.
Yeah, I can do it.
Yes, sir. You want me to help you or you're okay?
Is this 2.38? Yeah,
2.38.
Either or, Dr. B, whichever you prefer.
I don't know. If you're a glutton for punishment, then I'll just let you do it.
I can try. I can try.
No, go ahead.
Sukha dukhe same kritva. No, so I'll just start again. I'll start again.
Do it again.
Sukha dukhe same kritva. Love. No. Okay. Sorry. I think I'll do it with you, Dr. B.
So let's do this. So, see, there is a visarga in dukha.
Okay.
Dukha.
Yeah.
Sukh dukha. So sukh dukhe. Same kritva. There is no visarga at the end of va.
I was missing one,
Yes,
one,
yes.
so I wasn't sure where that came from.
That's okay. That's okay. Let's do it again.
Sukha dukhe same kritva. Labha labh, labha labho, labha labh,
Labha labhau jaya jayau.
labha labho, jaya jayo.
Labha labhau jaya jayau. Au.
Labha labho, jaya jayo.
Beautiful. Tato yuddhaya yujyasva.
Tato yuddhaya yujyasva.
Naivam papam vapsyasi.
Naivam papavam vapsyasi.
Naivam papam vapsyasi.
Naivam papam vapsyasi.
Put a little weight on ma. Papama vapsyasi.
Naivam papama vapsyasi.
That's it. Now you got it. So Sanskrit, the longer notes can hold on a little bit more and the shorter notes can be squeezed a little bit more. When you start labha, labhau, when you're using the length of the syllable, of the akshara, of the syllable, then the music will come out. Labha, labhau, jaya, jayau. See that? Sukha, dukhe, same, kritva. Tato yuddhaya yujyasva. Naivam papam vapsyasi. It has the music in it. That's the genius of it. Music is hidden in the words. Anyway, Swamiji, if you wanted to do some any questions. So this will make you comfortable. You keep doing this. You do it 10 times. I guarantee you, your voice will, tongue will open up, your lips, and then the throat will open up.
There is a question which is, how are yojana and yajman related to dhatu yuj?
Yeah, so yajman is, the root is yaj, from which comes the word yajna or yagya. What was the first one? I'm sorry.
Yojan.
Yajman.
Yojan.
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 Yojan, I think, comes from yuj. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but yojan comes from yuj. Yojan is the length of in space. So you can please check on it. I got from this book on all dhatus and verb forms of roots, and I'm happy to share with you. And that's how you guys have put me into this deep research into Gita now. And I will share with you the book next time. So if you want me to share those books, and if you want to do the research, that's great, because that will help all of us. Those who love this stuff, you can get those books and we can all share them.
ChatGPT says the yojan root is yuj.
Yuj, okay. All right. Once in a while, I'm correct about these things. That's why I'm afraid of saying things on grammar, because I'm not an expert in grammar. I just do it because I love it.
You can use ChatGPT, by the way. I use it a lot.
Okay.
It gives this stuff. You can even ask for vibhaktis and anything you want. It has reason. I mean, it might, I don't know how accurate, but mostly it makes life easy to just kind of.
If you can do ChatGPT, I'm fine with it. It'll make it.
It's a tool.
Tasty.
Yeah. We should make Sanskrit GPT. We should make like a Sanskrit GPT, It'd be like a totally.
We can. I would love someday to create of the Gita, all the roots and connect them. But right now, honestly, I'm so deep into the Gita because of this intense fascination with this. I probably have now 25 books on the Gita, different writers. And one of them, if you want to read, and I don't know if you would be interested in those literary works, is Robert Minor, is exegesis of the Gita. It's a complex work, so I'm not sure if you need to. I think the one you need to read is Sri Aurobindo, and that's really gives you everything. And I can give you the references if you want. Like Sampadanand ji's essay is beautiful. I always love reading him. You know, he writes. I think we did one other essay of him a few days ago on love. You know, aham tvai snehayami. I discover love in you. So that is the Saptami Vibhakti. And he talks about how Sanskrit is different from English. And here he is describing about the quality of Sanskrit, how in Sanskrit we deal with roots. And the Gita exploits this quality of Sanskrit to the maximum. So I know I keep taking you to the poetry, but it's just too beautiful. Sorry, go ahead.
We have two Rahuls wanting to. One has a question, one wants to chant. So which one should we take first?
Chanting I always love. So you can start with chanting and then we'll do the question.
Okay. Rahul Jain.
Second time I'm trying. Okay. Sukha dukhe same kratva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujasva neva papam vapyasi.
Yeah, vapsyasi. Just let it, don't be shy. Nayavam papama vapsyasi. So you're discovering the hidden music in the Anushtup. You're discovering the hidden music, and now you will see how sometimes Vyasa complicates it, and then at times he makes it very simple. Minimal words he will use, minimal letters he will use to create that whole pada. And it's beautiful. Now we can do the beautiful. I'm happy that everyone is feeling more open to it, and you start reading, listening to great reciters. I always recommend Brahmanandji. I think I have personally find him the best. Flawless. I mean, as far as I can see, maybe one or two minor issues one can have, but he's just absolutely beautiful because he resonates. He catches the quality of Sanskrit. So that is very helpful to me, because he has brought that quality of resonance, which Sanskrit has, the mantric quality. He's the one who has brought it out the most. So keep listening and keep reciting, and that's how I learned. No one taught me. At the age of 4, my Nana used to chant Rigvedic hymns, but he never taught me, and he passed away early. So using that recall and just those sounds that are in our head, they're already in our consciousness. You just have to bring them out. We are just too shy. And it's okay, but we need to start bringing it out. And that is, I think, once you start doing it, it will become, the meanings will come later, and the vyakaran will come much later. Don't worry about the vyakaran. Just like a child, this is my theory. Just like a child first listens to his mother and appreciates the nuances, we appreciate the nuances of this mother of ours. This is the Gita. The meanings will come later, and the vyakaran at the end. So vyakaran, we are, after what, 10, 15 of our sessions, we are now beginning to touch vyakaran. And I'm afraid to touch vyakaran even now. But as long as you can enjoy it and you're not afraid of it, we can keep doing it. So Sri Krishna has now taken a pivot and transformed the whole Gita. Please notice how brilliantly he has done it. And now equanimity, samatha, Swamiji is right. First line is samatha. Second line is on yoga. And he has thrown that idea of yukti or yujasva. And then he has brought in yuddha. He will come later to yajna, and he will bring yagya. And brilliantly, the philosophy of yagya, of karma, and of jnana, he brings them all together. In the 4th chapter, he will do that. And then he keeps building on it. So that's it. What was the last question, Samirji?
I think Rahul can ask.
So it's a question about yagnya, and how it is the same as yoga. So I just found that interesting because yagya or yagnya is actually sacrifice, where you are offering something to the divine. And it's actually a separation almost, right? Where you're separating yourself from that offering. maybe is my very layman understanding, and yoga is the union. So just wanted to understand more on that, and if it came from you, or is this understanding maybe incorrect?
Yeah, so the way I've understood yajna is to offer. That is the root meaning. And so what was that? Whitney, I got the name now. Whitney's book on the roots of um, Sanskrit words, and I think Motilal Banarsi Das had published it. It's a tortuous thing, so I don't recommend it. I do it because I research it for you, so you start enjoying it. If you want to do it, that's fine. Whitney is the word, which is the book that gives you all these roots. So basically, a yajna is what? You're uniting yourself with the divine. What is that yajna? Yajna is Vishnu. In our tradition, yajna is Vishnu himself. When we offer ourselves, not only what we have, we offer idam na mamaha, this is not mine, right? This is all yours. And then you say, even I am yours. So what is happening? You're becoming one with Vishnu. Yajna has, and Sri Aurobindo describes it beautifully in Hymns to the Mystic Fire. Yajna also means dharma. And yajna also means yoga. It's an ancient connection. Sri Krishna just plays with it. Whether Sri Krishna found it or he created it or he used it, it doesn't matter, because I don't know. And I think yajna and yoga come from the Vedic times, I think. And Sri Krishna loves to use, because he's a master, he uses from Upanishads. He'll take lines from the Upanishads, whole lines, you will find that. It doesn't matter because they're appropriate. So that's how I have taken yajna, is to offering to become one. To become. Interestingly, the word sacrifice is to make sacred. Sacer factum, that is Latin. I don't know how good your Latin is. We have had enough of Sanskrit. To make sacred, that is the meaning of the word sacrifice. So original meaning of the word sacrifice is almost as beautiful as yajna. But nowadays we've turned sacrifice into, oh, I'm losing something, I'm giving up something. But in the sense of yajna, there was no giving up. In fact, the giving to the devas of yourself was so that the devas could take you and transform you. So you give to devas and then they give you something in return. So yajna is also vinimaya. Yajna is also a transaction. And Kapali Shastriji has written very beautifully on it. You give a part of yourself to the deva and deva will give a part of himself to you. So it's a transaction. Eventually you give all of yourself and the divine gives all of himself to you. And that's the transaction. So that was our traditional meaning of yajna. But it's beautiful, right? The roots, how they play with each other. In Sanskrit, if you read that essay from Sampadananji, now you relate it. And as we keep doing it, now you can start noticing these roots.
Thank you. The understanding of yajna or yajna was was not as deep as what you explained. So thank you.
Absolutely. So just the understanding of yajna will make you understand the Veda. This was whole Sri Aurobindo wrote 2 great books on it. Hymns to the Mystic Fire and The Secret of the Veda. If you understand this, Veda becomes easy. Because the Agni in the yajna or yajna is not an external fire. The Agni is the divine. Agni is the Vachi, the representative of Atman and Paramatman. So you are invoking that Agni, that is your divinity within, and you're offering everything to that Agni. That divinity you are giving it to, so that the Agni grows. And that Agni lives. And someday, if you want, we can do the Agni Sutra of the Rig Veda, the first sutra. The first sukta, first sukta of Rig Veda is the Agni Sukta, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Agnimile purohitam yajnasya devam ritvijam Hotaram Ratna Dhatamam. I adore the Agni. That's what he starts with. I adore Agni. Agni always comes. Every sukta, Agni is your first deva. Agni represents the divinity that is at your level. At our level, who is the divine? What divine manifestation is closest to us? Agni. Not Surya. Surya is way out. We cannot relate to Surya. Agni is leading us. That divine is leading us. So Agni is also called the Neta. Okay? Agni Neta. So Agni is your leader. So Agni Miile. I love Agni. I adore Agni. Ide. Ida in old Vedic Sanskrit is to love. People translate it as I honor. That's okay. Purohitam. He's your Purohita. What does a Purohita mean? Purohita is not your priest. Purata in Sanskrit is the front. Right? Portal. You guys all IT geniuses. You use a portal. Purata is the front. So Purohita is who your Neta is. Agni is your Neta in the spiritual life. Right? So we can go over every word and how beautifully Sri Aurobindo has described it. But if you understand Yajna, then this will become easy. Entire Veda becomes easy. It's all symbols. These are beautiful symbols. And that's how they described it. They did not describe it in a very, mental language. They just saw things and they just described them. To them, they were living things. They were not poetic symbols. They were living. Agni is living to the Rishi. And if we start paying attention, that Agni becomes the most alive thing. You're alive, your tapasya, your tej, your energy, you're full of energy, no? You eat food, what is happening? It's getting digested. That's what, Jathar Agni. You get all upset. Your Swamiji went out of room and someone yelled at him. He got Krodha Agni. Right? So all this is all Agni. These are all manifestations of Agni. Hello, there's a little girl listening to us. So that's, I think we're good, right? Anything else? I think this, if you can, and Agni 4.24, Sri Krishna gives a beautiful, he talks about Yajna, and he will give you a beautiful understanding of the Veda. Before Sri Aurobindo did, Sri Krishna did. Before Sri Krishna did, the Upanishads did. Because, of course, they had the knowledge. And even in the Rig Veda itself, they explain the Rig Veda. If you pay attention to it, it's written there. But Sri Krishna gives us a summarized explanation of the entire Yajna. And so when we come, if you guys can handle it, 4.24, we'll do someday, and you will realize Sri Krishna has given the entire summary of the Veda in one shloka. Beautifully done. All right. I think it's good, everyone. Please go ahead with your day and enjoy and be in that rhythm of Sri Krishna that he has given us.
Thank you.
Okay. Namaste.
Namaskar.
Pranam.